Good morning, cinephiles. Great to see you. Great to have you with us today on this Friday, September the 24th. We have some interesting news to go through, some trailer reactions to do, but this just really needs to be a celebration of the fact that it is Friday. And on Fridays, it means that we go to the theaters. We see the new movies, we see the old movies, but we go to those theaters. And it's always a good day. So, on today's program, we are going to be talking about interesting casting choices that Nintendo has made in partnership with Illumination Studios. Hello, Dory. Good to see you as always. We're also going to be looking at the Spencer trailer and the trailer for a movie that was requested by the person who commented on the Sadness trailer. That is for The Lady of Heaven. I have a funny feeling that that's not the first time they've requested the reaction to that, but since they commented on the cut down version of the trailer, my God, that's what we're going to do. We're going to fulfill those requests, even as Rocco tries to destroy things over there. There's also going to be some updates on the IATSE strike, Johnny Depp not being canceled even more, and some other interesting little tidbits. Plus, we'll be picking up all of the what do you call it? The breaking news. We'll be cutting that as well. So I hope you have your tea ready. I have mine right here, although it's way too hot. It just came off the oven. That's why I started late. So instead of talking about tea, we'll get into the movie tea. Is that what I should change the name of this show to, perhaps? Probably not. That's not what I'm going to do. It's always so weird when YouTube gives me these weird things. It's like, your bit rate is too low. Your bit rate is too high. It's the same bit rate. Oh, YouTube, you're a real gem. Apologies if there's some focus issues as well. I'm just getting used to this new autofocus system. Anyways, no one wants to hear about technical difficulties. Am I right? Also, Dory, I just want to let you know, if you're still here, that this is real strange. I've noticed this the last couple of times I've streamed. It's showing concurrent viewers as 0, even though I know you're here. So, for some reason, YouTube doesn't think you exist. I just thought that was kind of a curious thing that you may want to know about. YouTube doesn't think you exist. I know you exist, but YouTube, they don't care. All right, now that that's out of the way and we know what we're getting ourselves into, let's talk about the first big news story of the day, which is, of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie cast. This was announced yesterday as part of the Nintendo Direct for the fall. Typically, they just announce new games that are going to be coming out on the Switch. But on this glorious day, they announced that the partnership that they have done or gone into with Illumination Studios, the studios that do the Despicable Me and Minions movies, they are doing a Super Mario film, and they announced the cast. And the internet went a little crazy when this cast was announced. The big one, the big plumber, Mario, is being played by Chris Pratt. And I think out of all of the casting decisions, this was the one that stood out to people as being a little strange, because Chris Pratt is not Italian. He's not known for ever really sounding like Mario. And so we don't really know what his Mario is going to sound like. Beyond that, I think there were some very inspired choices for casting of this film. Particularly Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. Like, that just makes all the sense in the world. If they were doing a live-action version of Super Mario, which they are not, this is an animated version of Super Mario. If they were doing an animated version, a live-action version of Super Mario Bros. Again, then Anya Taylor-Joy would be my pick to play Princess Peach anyways. So I think that is very, very good for them. I was just hoping to see if they would give me just like a simple breakdown of everyone. But I believe we also have Keegan-Michael Key playing Toad, which I don't know what was going on in their little casting meeting when they decided who they wanted to go with and why. But I imagine that for Keegan Michael Key, they said, okay, we need someone who's really talented, someone who's got some comedic chops, but also we need to cast the tallest possible person we can think of to play the shortest possible character. And then, in a reversal of that, they cast Jack Black as Bowser. And Jack Black, as we all know, is a bit on the shorter side, and Bowser is a big giant dinosaur. They were not really thinking about physical proportions when they were casting these roles. I believe Charlie Day has also been cast as Luigi, and we've also got a photo of Seth Rogen here, and I'm forgetting who they cast him as. Oh yes, Donkey Kong. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong in the Super Mario movie. Does that mean that this is setting up a Nintendo Cinematic Universe in animation? Yes, probably. It really probably does. Because why not? Why make one Super Mario movie when you can make a lot more money making a bunch of other Nintendo-based movies? Seth Rogen gets his own Donkey Kong spin-off, and then we get a Legend of Zelda, a Legend of Zelda film, and then who knows where we go from there. Maybe Princess Peach gets her own thing. Maybe a Mario Kart movie. That would actually be kind of fun. Do it as a, like a 24-hour Le Mans type film. I'd be into that. I don't think there's much here to discuss beyond that. But if you're watching this later, or if you're here right now, let me know in the chat what you think about this, who your picks for the cast of the Super Mario movie would be. And put that in the comments as well. Once again, if you're seeing this a little bit later on. Because I do see those comments, and I do read them, and I do respond to them. I'm here to take care of you guys. That's my promise to you. Moving on from this wonderful, wonderful news. Actually, wait. Before I move on to that, I believe, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this. Twitter, Chris Pratt, Mario. I believe he posted a video of himself like doing a Mario impersonation. Mario voice? Yes, comicbook.com. Wait. Damn it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is Waluigi. Why didn't we do that? He's so tall and lanky. That would have been perfect. And as I discussed yesterday, I am a Jeffrey Dean Morgan stan. To the nth degree. I wonder if we just go to the comicbook.com article if they have this thing here. Oh, yes. Yes. All right. Let's get the old headphones on so we can listen to this properly. See, isn't this fun to do in the morning? Isn't this exactly what your morning needed? I bet it was. Dory, are you saying meh on this film or meh on who they selected to play Chris Pratt? And while we wait for that answer, let's listen to the man himself.
So when I was a kid, I lived in Lake Stevens, Washington, and there's this coin-operated laundromat near my house, and it had Super Mario Brothers.
This is much longer than the original one that I expected it to be.
Oh, I love that game. I never had a quarter, it felt like. I'd either steal them from the wishing well. You know, that's wild.
Bad boy Chris Pratt.
Just dawned on
admitting
me right
to
now.
stealing.
The quarter I
He's a
stole
criminal.
out of the wishing well to play Super Mario Brothers has come true that I get to be the voice of Mario. But I clearly stole someone else's wish, so just waiting for that.
Bad boy Chris Pratt.
Row of karma dominoes to come crashing down on me, but as it is right now, it's a Mario. That's not the voice. You'll have to wait to hear the voice, but we've been working hard at it, and I'm really excited to announce that I'm going to be the voice of that video game that I dreamed about playing as a kid.
All right, so you got a little taste of it there. He says it's not the voice, but I'm pretty sure it's the voice. Like, why not? Why not have that be the voice? Aside from the fact that it's terrible and people would be very, very mad about it. And I think also, just to maybe finish this off, is that they do have the voice, the original voice of Mario from the video games. He's going to be in the film doing other stuff, supposedly. So, like, Why not just have him do Mario and put Chris Pratt as someone else? Like, you could still have the star power of Chris Pratt, just have him do another character and then keep the original Mario voice. Like, why wouldn't that be something that they considered? You know? I guess actually, now that I think about it, if you have Charlie Day as your Luigi, you probably want someone with a bit of a deeper voice doing Mario. And the traditional voice of Mario and Charlie Day are like not so dissimilar. Obviously, they're not the same because Charlie Day is not a video game character, probably. So, yeah, okay. If that is the decision making process that they went through, I can kind of understand it. Dory's saying, I wish Mario and Goosebumps and Fear Street have a baby. That would be a fucked up baby, my dude. What kind of movie would that be? And would it be the kind of movie that Eddie Murphy will produce now that he has a 3-picture deal and first look deal with Amazon Studios? My goodness, I'm getting way better at transitions. Oh, Amia's here. Hello, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. You just missed it. We just talked about Super Mario, the Super Mario cast, but now we're getting into Eddie Murphy signing a 3-picture deal with Amazon Studios. And I thought this was kind of interesting because he had worked fairly closely with Netflix in the past, especially on Dolomite Is My Name. So I was expecting there to be kind of a continuing relationship between Eddie Murphy and Netflix. But I guess Amazon Studios said, nah, here is money. You work for us now. So as far as this goes, let's just see what this says. Amazon Studios has closed a 3-picture first look deal with Oscar nominee and Emmy winner Eddie Murphy. Under the deal, Murphy will star in 3 films for Amazon Studios and develop original projects for Prime Video and Studios with the potential 2-star. So it's 3 films plus. It's a pretty good deal for him. This news comes in the wake of Murphy's Coming to America being the most watched movie on Amazon Prime in its opening weekend over March 5th to 7th. Really? Which the streamer has anecdotally announced, though never provided any viewership figures. So you just have to trust Amazon on that one. Amazon picked up Coming to America from Paramount during the pandemic in October for $125 million. What the hell, man? There's too much money. If that is not a figure that doesn't make you just think to yourself, perhaps wealth distribution is a good idea, then I don't know what is, aside from all of the other really good examples. $125 million for the sequel to Coming to America to put it on Amazon. Ridiculous. Coming to America was the #1 stream movie of the weekend, with the #1 opening weekend of any other streaming movie in 2021 to date, and #1 opening weekend of any streaming service or streaming movie in the past 12 months. That's all pre-COVID, according to this article. Amazing. Amazing. And I mean, I guess that makes sense that Eddie Murphy would be signing a deal like this then. So Eddie is both a legend in front and behind the camera. So this is just platitudes from the studio. Murphy has racked up several $100 million grossing pictures during the past 4 decades. And obviously the ones that are most impressive are the ones that happened the furthest in the past, because $100 million in the early 1980s was like a lot. Nowadays it's just the budget for films. That includes Beverly Hills Cop to Daddy Daycare. Why would you mention that? That's not one of the good ones. His recent turn as underground comic personality Rudy Ray Moore in Netflix's Element Is Mine landed 2 Golden Globes for Best Picture and for Murphy in the lead role. He also notched a Critics' Choice Association nomination for Best Actor, and last year received an Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for his return to Saturday Night Live. Up next, Murphy is producing and starring in Netflix's Beverly Hills Cop 4, and will star Jonah Hill in a Kenya Barris-directed comedy for Netflix. So there's 2 projects for Netflix right there. So what is going on here? I would have imagined that there was some kind of back and forth going on between Eddie Murphy and Netflix, and then Amazon probably just would have swooped in and picked him up, which is great for Eddie Murphy because he's able to play those 2 parties against each other. It's like being a professional wrestler and having WWE and AEW fighting over you. There's a lot of money to be made if you can get that going. Also, apologize if you can hear Rocco in the background. He is currently relieving himself. It looks like we have a couple of viewers here. Please get in the chat. Let me know how you're doing. And if there's any film news that you'd like me to discuss, or even trailers that you want me to watch and react to, let me know in the chat. Happy to do it. The morning show typically goes until about noon or when we run out of stuff to talk about. So if you want me to talk about stuff, let me know. I will talk about it for you and with you and about you if you are an actor, a famous person. It's possible. It's a possible thing. So I'd say congratulations to Eddie Murphy on this news. He's going to be making a lot of money from it, and he's getting paid. Although I think Eddie Murphy's probably one of those people who is stupid rich already. So I don't know. I don't know if he would have needed it. But hey, get paid. And then reinvest that money into the socialist revolution. Anyways, Amia asking, did you watch the Spencer trailer? Actually, that is the very next thing that I had planned. So the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to intro this because I'm going to be clipping this and putting it up on the channel later today. So I'll probably just try to intro it like it's a video. So if it looks weird what I'm about to do, I'm very sorry. But this is for the internet. It's all for the internet, but this is for internet in the future. Dory, just to answer your question quickly, will you be watching, reviewing Dear Evan Hansen? I don't have tickets for Evan Hansen yet, but I may end up going to see it tonight if I'm super bored. So we will see. Hello everyone, and welcome to Cinemateq. I'm about to react to the Spencer trailer. This just came out yesterday from Neon. It showed at TIFF, and I didn't get to see it, but now I get to watch this trailer with you. So let's watch this gosh darn thing. Was that a good intro, guys? I'm gonna cut this part out when I actually edit it. You can let me know if that was a good intro or not. I can handle it. Love me a Neon film. Also directed by Pablo Larraín, which makes me so excited. So we're definitely building up like a dread kind of atmosphere here. I love that actor.
Yes, she is late.
Alright. I really like the look of Kristen Stewart in this role.
Family are all gathered in the drawing room. They are waiting.
She's able to pull off the kind of meekness of Diana really well. Even though Diana was like a very forward public figure.
They're getting quite serious about you.
She also had a bit of a meekness about her, and I think Kristen Stewart's really able to embody that here.
Still and smile a lot. They know everything.
So this is going to be looking at the affair, I imagine. Quite a bit. Ooh, that is a Christmas tree.
Make you so sad.
Well, here, in this house, there is no future. Past and the present are the same thing.
No future.
Diana.
Is that a Sex Pistols reference? Probably not.
You have to change.
You have to be able to do things you hate.
You hate.
There has to be two of you. There's the real one and the one they take pictures of.
What a terrible life to live.
Diana, for the good of the country.
Of the country.
She does not want to do things for the good of the country. They're really hitting all of her iconic dresses as well.
Ordinary. The things that are real. There's no hope for me. Not with them. Fight them.
Cinematic work of art.
You are your own weapon.
The evolution of Diana.
Will they kill me, do you think?
Yeah, nice little nod to all the conspiracy theorists who think that the royal family actually had Diana killed. And directed by Pablo Larraín, yes. In theaters on November 5th, so not far away, cinephiles. So let's go through this a little bit deeper. Let's get deeper into this. Were there any shots in particular, chat, that you thought were interesting?
Yet?
So I think, yeah. So to start off, just by going through this again, we start off with this idea. I imagine this is going to be kind of the opening scene to the film itself. And we're introduced to Diana's character through the lens of the royal family, in that she is someone who is tardy, who is late. And so this is likely at a point in the film when the relationship between Diana and the royal family has already started to collapse. I'm not exactly sure why, in this particular case for this trailer, they would focus so heavily on the royal family's kind of opinion of her to begin with. But I guess as a way of framing the film itself, it could be trying to indicate to us that Diana's life was not her own, and that she basically lived or died based on what people thought of her. And that is certainly true in the way that the press treated her. This is actually kind of similar to what we were talking about yesterday in the Britney versus Spears trailer, how part of the indictment of the Britney versus Spears trailer had to do with our own involvement with Britney's life, with her career. And I think that can also be said of Diana. We bought, and I don't mean me, because I was like, 7 or 8 when she was killed. But everyone just kept buying more and more of those Hello magazines and feeding into the press and the craziness around Diana and her life, her marriage to Charles, Prince Charles, her 2 kids and their relationship. And so Diana's life was never really her own. So if we're starting the trailer here with the royal family being like, she's late again, we're getting that same kind of feeling. That she is not her own person, and that she is sort of operating on the whims of other people. And also, he looks very upset. I don't know if you noticed it when I had this still frame. He doesn't look that upset here, but there, he looks angry. He looks like he is very cross with Diana.
Yes, she is late.
You get this nice little shot of her. It seems like probably one of the only moments where she can experience any kind of freedom, just in her convertible driving to a palace. Oh, May, I think that's really interesting how you're talking about the claustrophobic nature of this trailer, and I think we kind of get a sense for that in this next shot here. Yeah, so this is a very close-up shot of Diana. It's not even getting her whole kind of face in it, like her chin is kind of cut off as well, so she's definitely being contained by the frame. It certainly adds to the claustrophobic nature you're talking about, and of course, this being in the bokeh and this being fairly extreme as well, our focus is entirely on Diana, and she does seem trapped, even though, as I just said in the previous shot, she seemed kind of, as I said in the last shot, she seemed kind of free in the convertible. It's even turned into a bit of a trap, into a bit of a claustrophobic shot, as you say. Also just love the symmetry of this shot. And I didn't mention it before, but this film has played at Venice, Telluride, and Toronto, so that means it's a trifecta. It's a trifecta movie. I forgot about that. Last year during the, well, not last year, 2 years ago, I was always big on films that were trifecta films that played at all 3 of these major festivals, and they're rare. Usually every year there's like 1 or 2. So the fact that Spencer is one of them is pretty incredible.
Your Royal Highness.
Mummy!
Family are all gathered in the drawing room.
The family who hates you.
They are waiting.
3 days.
So I didn't really pick up on this before because I was probably saying stupid things, but the fact that she says 3 days here and she's like washing her hands says to me this is probably a weekend trip that she needs to spend with the family. With the royal family.
That's it.
She just has to get through 3 days. That's kind of what she's getting at.
Serious about you.
They're getting quite serious about you.
Still and smile a lot.
So it seems actually that a lot of this first part of the trailer is taking place in the same weekend. So maybe that's kind of how this film is going to be structured, where we stay for Diana in this one weekend, and then we are shown little bits and pieces of her life outside of this weekend. So this is kind of like I don't want to say a royal family intervention, because I don't think they ever did something like this with her, as far as I know, as far as we know, perhaps. But that could be how the film structures itself. Okay, so Maya just confirming. I heard this whole film is just spread across 3 days in the Christmas holiday. See, look at that. A close examination of a trailer can get you pretty much everything.
They know everything.
And once again, they know everything, definitely. Also, the Queen looking pissed. I don't think I've ever seen the Queen express emotion of any kind, but she looks pissed. Dory's saying that Jennifer Lawrence should have gotten the Lady Diana role in Spencer. And that's interesting. I can see it. I don't know. I think there's just something about Kristen Stewart that works better in this role. Like, I don't think when you're doing when you're casting the role of Princess Diana, I don't think you should be casting someone who's considered like the all-American sweetheart, and Jennifer Lawrence has been kind of typecast as that. And so from a casting standpoint, I think that may have actually worked against the film if they were to go with it. I also can't remember if she's ever done a British accent and how good or bad it was, if she did one at all. But it's an interesting take. It's an interesting take. It certainly would have been a different kind of film.
They don't. Mummy, what's happened to
Yeah,
me?
this is very clearly all just happening at Christmas. I can't believe I missed it the first time through.
Here, in this house, there is no future. Past and the present are the same thing.
No future for you.
Diana, they can't change.
Is this supposed to be the Queen, like, confiding or letting Diana know that everything's going to be okay, even though she was just, like, looking so angry at her? I don't know about that.
You have to change.
I wonder if the Queen is referring to the royal family in that case, or like the British media, or if it's kind of a one and the same type thing.
You have to be able to do things you hate.
You hate.
There has to be two of you. There's the real one and the one they take pictures of.
You can just see the emotion in her face here. Like, she hates this, and she can't do this dual life thing that Prince Charles is saying that she has to do. It's, yeah, you can just read everything in her face. I think this is one of the reasons why this film is being picked as, like, well, especially Kristen Stewart's performance is being picked as like an early frontrunner for the Academy Awards for Best Actress, and you can see it. You can see it here in instances like this. You just get the whole story from one single frame of the film.
Diana, for the good of the country.
Of the country.
The country that has given her nothing and has taken everything away from her, basically, is how I read that. Boop. Just resetting the focus, everybody. Everything's fine. I will say that little slam there, first of all, please respect pool tables. They don't deserve that kind of abuse. But this little slam came off to me as a little... Maybe it's just the way that it's done with, like, within the trailer, the way it cuts away from. It didn't have the emotional impact that I think they thought it was going to have. So, yeah, don't know what to think about that. Amaya is saying, I don't think the Queen says that they can't change. Someone else says it, and they just show the Queen's face. Well, that is some bullshit editing then. Because if you show someone and you hear the voice and it's a close enough match, it should be the person talking. Dory, I don't know why your buttocks clenched. Is that because of the abuse of the pool table? Because we are the same people if that's the case. And I do like here we've got Kristen Stewart getting all of the praise. And there was one more shot later on I wanted to focus on.
The things that are real.
When she's running, not this shot where she's running, but it seemed like they do a kind of
Fight them.
evolution. Oh wait, so is the person saying like they're not going to change? It's probably this woman who's telling them to, telling Diana to fight. So Maya, if you're right, and it wasn't actually the Queen, it was probably this woman who said that, which makes sense. I guess the Queen I can't actually remember if like it's in history, if it's historically accurate, if the Queen and Diana ever got along. Probably not. It'd actually be kind of amazing if this film was very critical of the Queen. And Prince Philip as well, since he's like dead now.
You are your own weapon.
And her weapon of choice. So yeah, this I actually really like, and I don't know if this is meant to be Diana at different points in her life, but that kind of running, and then we see the girl on the bike, and then we see this person running, and then it's Diana. Because the background is the same, I'm going to guess that these are people related to Diana or parts of the royal family. But if it is kind of a evolution of Diana through the years, I'm really into that. It would mean that this film is being a bit more surreal in its presentation, especially since it's being set, like those three moments are being set with the same backdrop in mind. So that to me, if it is like Diana at three different points in her life, would point to a more surrealist film. There's not really a lot of indications otherwise in this trailer that it would be, so I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but it's a cool little technique nonetheless. And Amaya, yeah, I think that is Sally Hawkins. We can, well, I'll look that up after the trailer reaction's done. It's basically the end of the trailer here. I didn't realize that she's actually looking out at a scarecrow during this. That's kind of a cool little moment. Looking out at the thing in the field that's supposed to keep all of the vultures away and the crows away from feeding on you. It's not the easiest metaphor, but I like it if it's playing out in my mind the way that I think it is. Yeah. I have nothing but positive feelings towards this film, and I can't wait to see it. Obviously it was at TIFF, and I wasn't able to see it at TIFF, unfortunately. But I've heard good things about it. I've heard middling things about it, but everything points to Kristen Stewart being absolutely fantastic in this. So I am so here for that. I am so here for that. And for the live audience, just to let you know, I'm going to just cap this quickly for the video that I put up later for this. Thank you everyone for watching this amazing... Thank you everyone for watching this Thank you everyone for watching this trailer reaction. Get subscribed to Cinemateq so you don't miss the next one. All right, we're done with that now. And yeah, Amaya, you're right. The accent is so good that I didn't even think to comment on it. It was just like, oh yeah, that's how Princess Diana sounds. That's how a British person sounds. There wasn't anything ridiculous about it. Like it's just good. Just good all around stuff. And with that, I drink a little bit more tea. So Amaya, since you're here in the chat, why don't you let us know what kind of movies you've been watching recently, and if you've seen anything good? Because a lot of this is just going to be a discussion about not random stuff, but stuff that's going on. And with that in mind, I'm actually just going to do a quick check to see if there's any like big breaking news that I need to interrupt the show with. It looks like no. Oh, Amber Heard is still in legal battle with Johnny Depp. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. Oh no, Big Brother 23 spoilers. All right. Not much new happening, which means we're going to move on to a story that I've been talking about over the last couple of days, and that is, of course, the IATSE strike. According to this Deadline article written by David Robb and Dominic Patton, IATSE strike authorization vote will begin next week. I imagine that this kind of vote, because it incorporates so many different IATSE locals, will take a bit of time to do and to coordinate. Let's just go through and see what the article has to say. IATSE's strike authorization vote will be getting underway soon. GRIPS Local 80 said that it will hold its vote from October 1st to 3rd, so basically next week. And Prop Local 44 told its members at a virtual town hall Wednesday night that they'll be voting on the same dates. IATSE has said that all 13 West Coast studio locals will hold their secret ballot votes simultaneously. So it looks like in total, all of the IATSE strike votes will happen between October 1st and 3rd. The purpose of this vote is to give the IATSE president and negotiating committee the authority to call a strike if they determine that it is the only way to get the producers back to the negotiating table, Local 80 told its members. You will be receiving a personal communication from the local in the next few days on the voting procedures and with detailed instructions on how to cast your ballot. Remember, by saying yes to authorizing a strike, that does not mean that a strike will be called. So it's not like we're going to get a strike happening on the 4th of October. This is just really a negotiating tactic that they have to go through in order to get the studios back to the table. I don't know why I picked up my tea. I'm not ready to drink more yet. And this quote goes on to say, that depends on how the producers respond to our continued desire to negotiate. Under IATSE's electoral college style authorization process, and honestly, just seeing the words electoral college make me cringe so hard. America, get better elections. For any local to pass a strike authorization, at least 75% of those voting must vote yes in support of it. As with the basic agreement contract ratification process, a local's delegate votes will reflect the members' votes. A local with 1,000 votes returned, for instance, would need 750 yes votes in order to support the strike authorization. Okay, so 75% from each local have to say yes. A simple majority of the delegate votes in the 13 local bargaining unit determines the outcome. So you would need 7 locals saying yes to authorize the strike. So that's a bit of interesting thing that I didn't know before. This morning, IATSE stickers began showing up on members' desks and workstations at productions all over LA and New York City, and many people on sets are wearing them. So this seems to be, if this is true and if this is widespread, it seems like we're likely moving towards the authorization to strike vote going through. Gonna get a whole lot of yes votes. And to go along with this update on the IATSE strike, we also have another production guild weighing in. The Writers Guild of America East, not West, but East, stands in solidarity with IATSE as strike authorization vote nears. The WGA East, the Writers Guild of America, said today that it stands shoulder to shoulder with IATSE in its fight for a fair contract. This likely goes back to the Writers Guild strike of many years ago, and I would assume that the IATSE members stood in solidarity with the WGA back then, so this is just good old labor organization. IATSE is currently mobilizing a secure strike authorization form from its members. After contract talks, blah, 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 we've already heard all about this. Yesterday, SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher and many of the union's leaders joined the chorus of actors voicing their support for IATSE. So, yes, we basically have SAG saying that they support IATSE. We have the writers now saying that they support IATSE, and IATSE will be voting in about a week. And this is crazy. It's crazy to me the momentum this has, and that this whole thing is picking up. Come on, focus. Like, we are really heading towards a strike. I feel it. We are heading towards a strike because I feel like the studios, as much as they desperately need to keep stuff going, I think a lot of them actually have revenue sources outside of theatrical distribution now, to the point where they may be able to weather this storm a little bit. And they already have data that tells them, like, this is how you release content in a pandemic, so why wouldn't releasing that same content during the strike be any different? What they have to be careful of is that they can eventually run into the case where they don't have anything new to release. But as I mentioned over the last couple of days, a lot of these larger studios can just take their larger films overseas, or they can take them to Canada. So I think a strike is coming, and I think the studios are really going to try to put the screws to the workers, to the laborers, to the production workers. And at this point, I don't even know how long the strike could last if it does happen. But if the Writers Guild strike is any indication, it wouldn't be a short one. I believe that strike went on for several months and actually led to television shows, as an example, like Canadian television shows being picked up by American distributors and American television channels because they needed content to put on their screens. So the strike could be good for Canada and therefore the world. But no, that's not how we actually feel on this channel. Cinemateq stands in solidarity with labor movements all over the world, and we absolutely support IATSE's right to strike and for them to get concessions which help their workers. That's what it comes down to. Going back over to the chat, Amaya saying that they recently just watched some of the good movies of the past decade that they hadn't watched until now, and that includes Grand Budapest Hotel, Coco, Nomadland, Three Billboards, The Favorite, Shape of Water, Isle of Dogs, and Royal Tenenbaums. Saying that, yeah, Wes Anderson is my new favorite director. Then you must be pretty psyched about The French Dispatch about to come out. I think it's less than a month away. Pretty sure it's an October film. It might be releasing against Dune, actually. It might be coming out October 22nd in North America. The only new one I watched was Luca and loved it. We were actually talking about Luca just yesterday because it is currently the frontrunner, according to Variety, to win the Best Picture, Best Animated Film of the Year award. And Amaya also saying, I never understood America's election system. I read that Trump lost the popular vote but still became president. Like, what the hell does that mean? It means they've got a messed up electoral system. Basically, you got 50 states in America, and they all have at least 3 electoral votes. And then additional electoral votes are decided based on population. So California has like 50 and Florida has like 30 because they're so big. And essentially, you need 271 electoral votes to win. So whoever gets the most votes in each state gets the electoral votes, and then you need to get up to 270. So because of the way that America's population is distributed, rural states tend to have more power than heavily populated states, which is why a president, particularly Republican presidents, can win the Electoral College without winning the popular vote, because they just get a whole bunch of these smaller states. And from a vote share perspective, it's like less of the population, but more electoral votes overall. But that didn't happen this last time. No big lie bullshit on this channel. I got Dory chiming in here saying that Luca was amazing. I will have that one on my list, absolutely. But with that all said, that's enough of IATSE stuff, I believe. That's all we got. This next one I wanted to bring up because we've been talking about Johnny Depp a little bit over the last couple of days. Johnny Depp was at the San Sebastian Film Festival yesterday, talking about how cancel culture is bad and how it can come for everybody, and the implication being that he was canceled and that he, oh, woe is him, Johnny Depp, what is he ever going to do? And like most canceled people that I know anyways, he launched a production company in Europe, because that's what canceled people do. They launch businesses. What a guy. Admits the controversy surrounding his personal life after the majority of ex-wife Amber Heard's allegations of domestic violence have been proven to a civil standard, Johnny Depp has placed himself in the starting blocks of a new professional venture. The U.S. actor is starting a new phase focusing as a film producer, launching his own European production company, UK-based firm In.2 Film. Depp made this announcement yesterday at the 69th San Sebastian International Film Festival, where he received the Dante Este Award. Ah, yes. I forgot that while he was talking about cancel culture, he was being awarded for it. Gets an award, announces a new film production company the next day, is definitely canceled, according to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was canceled according to Johnny Depp, and yet he's still able to do all of these things which require him to basically not be canceled. Cancel culture does not exist. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it on the channel, but cancel culture does not exist. Rich people have to go to jail to be canceled. That's how it works. And like with Bill Cosby, as I've said before, they can still get out of jail. Whether Bill Cosby does anything else with his life and tries to like get back into being a public figure, I don't know. But he ain't in jail anymore. Amaya saying, whoa, that was all new to me. I'm Indian, so the only Western news I know is that our PM met with VP Harris this morning. Oh, all right. I didn't know that VP Harris was on the move today because I'm Canadian, and I probably shouldn't follow American politics as much as I do. But it's just so dang interesting. On the other side of things, we just had an election in Canada, and it was nothing. It was campaigning for a couple of weeks. We had an election. The results didn't really change anything. We're all just like, all right, guess we're going to move on with our lives now. And that's it. Canadian politics is boring in relation to American politics. So let's see. I guess this new company. Oh no. Okay, this actually is a new company. It's being born out of Johnny Depp's own LA-based Nile. Yeah, Infinitum Nile. Infinite Nihilism? Is that kind of where he's going with that? Which has been behind such titles as Tim Burton's Dark Shadows, Gore Verbinski's The Lone Ranger, and Andrew Levada's Minamata, which we talked about yesterday. All of them starring Johnny Depp, of course. The first deal announced by the company is an international development partnership with Spain's I'm so sorry. With a production company from Spain. Adolfo Blanca's company, an independent film company first born as a distributor and now expanding to production services, has made a mark by bringing audience-friendly titles to Spanish theaters, such as Untouchable, The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of the Window and Disappeared, and The Father, but also auteur fare, such as Aquil y Ala, New Order, and Varda by Agnes, as well as a plethora of genre flicks and re-released classic titles. So Johnny Depp getting into bed with a somewhat well-known, or at least a well-represented company who, it seems like this is a deal of like mutual benefit. The Spanish company, whose name I won't try to pronounce again, I once again apologize to the entire Spanish nation. They want to get into producing films, and it makes things a lot easier from their standpoint if they have someone like Johnny Depp backing them up, especially if it seems like Johnny Depp is going to go with a similar model where he stars in all of the films that gets produced by this company that he has created specifically in Europe. It also means that he gets to stay in Europe and produce films in Europe, which means that he might be able to stay away from the press in the United States. Might be a good idea for him at this point. But he's not canceled. To reiterate, he's not canceled. All right. So let me know what you guys think about this. Do you care about Johnny Depp's new production company? I know, Dory, if you're still here, you were really into Minamata as a film. Are you going to be seeing any of this new European fare that he is likely going to be starring in? Let me know. Get in those comments. Amaya saying, no, Harris is not on move. PM Modi is on US tour. Okay. Yeah, I just saw one news article that Trudeau won again. Yep. Minority government. It's the way we do it. Moving on to movie adjacent news, but something I still wanted to touch on because I know there's a lot of Harry Potter fans out there. Tom Felton has collapsed during a celebrity golf match. And I just saw this. I saw this and I wanted to point it out. But also saw in a separate article that Tom Felton is around the age of 34. So he's maybe 1 or 2 years younger than I am. And collapsing on a golf course is not typically something that people in their mid-30s do. I will, of course, as the journalist that I am, I will learn the game of golf and test this theory myself. Hopefully, I will not collapse. The Harry Potter's franchise, Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton, collapsed on a Wisconsin golf course earlier today while participating in a golfing competition with other celebrities for an audience. The 34-year-old was conscious but looked unwell as he was pictured being carried by staff at the event and driven away on a stretcher on a cart. It's unclear what happened or his current condition, but Felton is receiving medical attention following the incident. Looks like we got a video here as well from Rachel Piper. Take a look at this. People are cheering for him. I wonder if he gives the crowd the little wave that people usually do. Oh, they are very, woo. I mean, I guess they would take any medical emergency seriously, so we probably shouldn't read the fact that they were like, get out of the way. We shouldn't read into it that much. Tom Felton was competing with the Europe team of the Wisconsin Celebrity Showcase ahead of the Ryder Cup on Friday. Oh, I see. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the Harry Potter actor received applause from spectators as he was carried off the course to be given medical attention, which we just heard from this video from Rachel Piper. Tom Felton and the teams involved in the match had reportedly just finished posing for photos when the Harry Potter actor seized and fell to the ground. Onlookers reportedly grew panicked and promptly called for medical assistance. Felton apparently was on the ground for some time being tended to before he was assisted to the cart that took him away from the event. The video below shows Felton briefly on the stretcher being transported by medical. Okay. The actor just celebrated his 34th birthday. See? I'm a journalist. I do research. I'm not a journalist. And updated his fans by sharing a post to Instagram about how fun it's been to get to this point in his life. It looks like there has been no update to this as to his current condition, like if he's posted anything to Instagram since the collapse. So I think in the case of this studio, we will just wish Mr. Felton a speedy recovery, hope that he is okay, and that he gets back to acting as soon as he can. I do actually like him as an actor. If he's in the right role, I think he can do really well. Which, let's be fair, is something that you can say about all actors. You could probably say that about me. Put me in the right role and I'll do really well. If you need like an angry ginger who yells, I do that great. I'm exceptionally good at that. But Mr. Tom Felton is an actual actor. And yeah, I always like it when he pops up in movies. I feel like it's good. We got Dory here saying, going back to Johnny Depp, I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan, but I don't care if he's a wife beater. I care if he's a wife beater. It takes two people to fight. They are both wrong. I mean, that is taking the things that have been said with a huge grain of salt. Yes, it takes two people to fight, but it only takes one person to be a domestic abuser. So we are assuming here, or you're assuming with that take, that Amber Heard was giving it back as good as she got, and I honestly don't know if that's the case. I'm certainly not going to take the alleged abuser at their word, because I do believe that thing you're saying, it takes two people to fight, that's something that Johnny Depp said in an article that he posted or released. So yeah, I'm not just going to be on his side because he says that it takes two to fight, honestly. And apologies if I'm like misquoting or getting that mixed up, but I think that's correct. So yeah, I'm not totally convinced by that. And he's already been, as we have seen in the previous article from Cine Europa, this was like right at the very top. Allegation, yeah. After the majority of ex-wife Amber Heard's allegations of domestic violence have been proven to a civil standard. So, like, we know that Johnny Depp, based on what has happened in court already, we know that he's a domestic abuser. You know? And so I appreciate the fact, Dory, that you can still watch Johnny Depp films and be a fan of his despite this. I do not. I do not. There are certain lines, and I draw them when I have that kind of information. Same way that I feel real weird when I watch a Harvey Weinstein film. Ugh. Don't like doing that anymore. And yeah, I think we even talked about this yesterday, how it's kind of weird to watch a Kevin Spacey film, right? But I think that's probably a broader conversation about being able to watch films with the appropriate context, but also the extent to which we support people who we may not necessarily agree with, or who have done things in the past that we absolutely don't agree with. We can talk about that another time. And I think Amaya here is asking, whoa, didn't know that. Any specific reason given yet? I assume referring to the Tom Felton story. No, I haven't seen anything that would suggest that there has been a reason given for this. Although this article did come out midday yesterday. But I haven't seen anything pop up on the newswire in regards to that. So now we move on to a story about a comic book movie, specifically the new Venom movie. And this new Venom movie, excuse me, apparently for this new Venom movie, Tom Hardy called Andy Serkis for Venom motion capture help before deciding to use CGI, which is a weird headline to me because if you're doing mocap, you're still doing CGI anyways. So I'm not quite sure what this means. Let's find out. Tom Hardy knew he had to consult with the best if he was going to take the motion capture route. Tom Hardy did not use motion capture technology to bring Venom to life in the 2018 comic book blockbuster, but that doesn't mean he didn't consider it. In a new interview with Uproxx, Golem actor and motion capture icon Andy Serkis revealed that he got a call from Hardy prior to the production of Venom asking if he would help him practice with motion capture technology. Serkis and Hardy never coordinated beyond the call, but now Serkis is directing the actor in the highly anticipated Venom sequel, Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I didn't know Andy Serkis was directing that. Now I'm even more interested in it, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Venom sequel is only 90 minutes long, which, considering it's a comic book movie, is a goddamn blessing. So many of these comic book films are like way too long, and I hate saying that those films are way too long, because I think a lot of that stuff, as long as the pace is consistent, or at least the film is paced in a way where the movie doesn't feel long, then fine. Zodiac, it's like a 2 hour and 40 hour long, or 2 hour and 40 minute long film, does not feel that way. Good movie. And I think Avengers Endgame is another good example. Like, big movie, doesn't feel like it's as long as it is, got a lot to pack in, I'm fine with that. But just like any comic book movie being like 2 hours and 20 minutes, just stop it. Just don't do it anymore. I'm not that into it. So Venom 2, being directed by Andy Serkis and being 90 minutes, got me feeling good about that movie. To quote Mr. Serkis more, Tom and I knew each other a bit, have known each other for years and years and years, and have wanted to work together for quite some time, Serkis said about joining the Venom franchise. And whether it be as actors or whether it was me directing, in fact, he called me before the first Venom and said, Andy, I'm going to be doing this character, and it's going to be a digital character, and I wonder if I could come down to the Imaginarium, which is the performance capture studio, and do some sort of practice with performance capture. And at the time, he was thinking of using it. But then I never heard from him again for a while. And then Venom came out, and I thought, oh, that was the character he was talking about. As if you didn't know Andy Serkis. Hardy previously explained to Total Film Magazine why the original Venom did not use motion capture and instead took the CGI route in creating the character. It wasn't motion capture because the eyeballs on the creature on Venom and the mouth, they don't match with my eyeballs and mouth. That makes sense. So the mocap treatment went out of the window pretty quickly. Facially, your eyes and teeth and tongue are not going to match with this. And you need a 7-foot-tall basketball player in a Lycra suit for the physical shoots. And yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Why would you do mocap for a character that's supposed to be like way bigger than you and also an alien symbiote? When Serkis was announced as the director of Venom: Let There Be Carnage, some fans wondered if that meant motion capture would be utilized on the sequel. However, press notes for the film revealed that Serkis only utilized motion capture briefly and again stuck with the CGI to create Venom. It's CGI anyways. Like, I get that if there's no mocap, then you have to create the movements essentially from scratch. But if you're doing mocap, you're still doing CGI. You're doing CGI on top of it. There's still animation happening. It doesn't matter if you have a wireframe to work from. It's still CGI animation. Goodness me. I also want you guys to know that just because I say things like goodness me doesn't mean that I don't swear. I swear a lot. I just want you to know that. dear viewers. I think that's about all there is to say about this. Venom, the new Venom, is set to open in theaters on October 1st. I will be there. I will be there to see this 90-minute long superhero movie where Tom Hardy just does ridiculous things with an alien. They make breakfast together. Looks like a good time to me. Super into that. But let me know, chat, if you guys are feeling Venom 2, if you feel like you're going to be going to see it. Would love to get your thoughts on that. Dory's saying, and this was in response to what we were talking about before with Johnny Depp, we have Hollywood stars that have done a lot worse. It doesn't bother me. If the film is good, then I'll watch it. I totally accept that as your opinion. However, I just feel differently. The idea that we have Hollywood stars that have done a lot worse, to me, is not an excuse for for Johnny Depp. It just means that there are a lot of other people who we should be thinking about in terms of, do I want to support them? And I know that this kind of idea of, if the movie is good, then I'll watch it, I know that seems like a pretty natural thing. For me, I have to relate it back to my own experience, specifically with music. I listen to a lot of metal, to a lot of black metal, and famously that subgenre is just full of Nazis. Just a whole bunch of white supremacists and Nazis in that scene. It's like the shittiest thing about the scene. And I think if you were to compare like the amount of Nazis in black metal versus like other subgenres of metal, there'd be way more in black metal. And I know that there are a lot of people who just say, whatever, I don't care if these people are Nazis if they're making good music. And they claim to be apolitical, and they are just totally fine listening to Nazis make music and the music that Nazis make. And for me, I say, no, I can't do that because I don't want my money going to Nazis. And I basically take that ethos, that way of navigating the black metal scene, and apply it to a lot of other media that I consume. In the case of film, it comes down to, do I want to give these people money? So in the case of Johnny Depp, I don't want to give him money. So if there is a Johnny Depp film that I need to see, something that is perhaps up for awards or something like this, I will download it. I will just pirate the shit out of it because I do not want to give Johnny Depp my money. And otherwise, I don't really want to support him. I know I've been talking about it in the last couple of days, but that's in relation to his claims about cancel culture. And I just don't think it's just something that we'll probably just keep talking about, what is cancel culture and all this kind of stuff, because it is something that I think that is interesting, that ends up being weaponized against people who are more leftists. This idea that cancel culture is going crazy. I don't agree personally with that. But just to wrap that all up into a big bow, when we say, if the movie is good, then I'll watch it, I understand. From my perspective, I just don't want to give abusers and shitty people and people who do things that I am morally opposed to, I just don't want to give them my money. That's what it comes down to. And of course, there has to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere, because if we're talking about things in terms of like capitalism, like all of these movie studios are basically involved in this transfer of wealth that is coming from lower middle classes to the wealthy, and I'm sure there's people inside of these studios who have done all kinds of horrendous things. There has to be the line drawn, and if I can point to individuals, cool, then those are people I will stay away from. If Universal Studios tomorrow came out and said, by the way, we support like a fascist party in a different country, then yeah, I would probably have to consider just never watching a Universal film ever again. But in a lot of cases, there are things that a corporation would do that I would let slide because it's fundamentally different than a person. Even though I know in America, corporations are people, except they're not at all. This is a big, long rant that went way off the rails. I apologize. But I do see that Amaya has just added into this quickly. Oh, Nazis reminded me, I also watched Jojo Rabbit last week. It's one of my top 5 movies of all time. I'm glad I could remind you of one of your favorite films. just talking about them Nazis. And let's see. Oh yeah, and I think I might also had something pretty interesting to say on this topic. I personally can't do that separate the art from the artist thing. Army Hammer has permanently ruined Call Me By Your Name for me, and I can't enjoy any Ellen videos anymore. Yeah, that's bound to happen. And like the Army Hammer one, God, that really annoyed me, because I genuinely believe that Army Hammer was going to be like this sort of like classic Hollywood star. He just had like that look, and I just wanted him to have a long career because he was very talented. And then he got involved in some cannibalism shit. God damn it, Army Hammer. And so yeah, especially like thinking about Call Me By Your Name, like the biting the peach scene. How do you watch the biting the peach scene and not think about him like wanting to eat someone or trying to eat people? I'm just going to look this up again to make sure that I am like, that I know. Controversy. Imagine that he didn't actually try to eat people. Okay, Army Hammer, breakdown of cannibalism and abuse scandal. Jesus Christ. Army Hammer's alleged cannibal DMs and rape. Yeah. So, huge jerk doing jerk things. But just to go back to that, like, imagine watching the peach eating scene in Call Me By Your Name and not thinking about cannibalism. I can't anymore. I just cannot. Just like I cannot get this focus tracker to stay in the middle of my face. All right. Oh, actually, Maya has something about awards talk. Back to some awards talk. Jessica Chastain is being really hyped for Eyes of Tammy Faye. It looks like Chastain versus Stuart Race. I agree. Although, did you guys see this? When I was talking about Tom Felton, this trending movies thing right here, on Cinema Blend, they gave Eyes of Tammy Faye a 2 out of 5. What is going on there? And they gave Dune a 4.5 out of 5, and Free Guy a 4, and Cherry a 4, and Wonder Woman 1984 a 4.5. All right, I think we can know that we can basically chuck Cinema Blend's opinions about film right in the blender. That is some ridiculous ratings. It's also why you will just never ever see ratings on this channel. But moving on from all of that, we're going to do another little trailer reaction. Now, this one is definitely not a new film. As you can see here, this trailer came out December 23rd of 2020, but this was requested in a highlights video that I uploaded for The Sadness, which came out yesterday. It was a trailer reaction to a Taiwanese horror film that was super gross and also looks pretty dang good. But in the comments for that, someone requested that I do a reaction to the Lady of Heaven trailer. And you know what? I am going to do this trailer reaction, but I am going to take just a little bit of a break first. So please enjoy this wonderful montage that I've created for you, and I'll be right back.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. You understand?
Back in a minute.
Be right back.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, Dan.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Don't get dressed.
I'll be back.
Be right back with a search warrant.
I'm coming right back.
I'll be right back.
Hey, buddy, you pay for the drinks. I gotta go to John and be right back. Gonna introduce Mr. Thick Dick to Mr. Urinal Cake.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. You understand?
Back in a minute.
Be right back.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, Dan.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Don't get dressed.
I'll be back.
Be right back with a search warrant.
I'm coming right back.
I'll be right back.
Hey, buddy, you pay for the drinks. I gotta go to John and be right back. Gonna introduce Mr. Thick Dick to Mr. Urinal Cake.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. You understand?
Back in a minute.
All right, we are back. We are back on the morning movie show. You guys really need to let me know if that thing is, that I'll be right back thing is annoying or not. But I enjoyed the hell out of making it. So even if everyone hates it, I may just post it as its own video on this channel. So, as I said, there was a wonderful viewer who requested that we do a reaction for the Lady of Heaven trailer, and that is exactly what we are going to do. In the chat, if you have seen this movie, please let me know. And if not, well, then we all get to learn together, which is just the fun part of this show. So, without any further ado, the Lady of Heaven trailer. People with guns. Oh, is that ISIS? Fuck these assholes.
The world can be a cruel and dangerous place.
Yep. Especially if you have ISIS coming to your town.
Even if you're afraid, be strong.
So I imagine the protagonist of this film is... Who is supposed to be the protagonist of this movie?
Story of the Lady of Heaven.
Okay, so this is going to be kind of like a flashback storytelling type film.
Daughter to the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
My time is near.
So this is kind of a...
Lovely Fatima. You will face many trials.
It's probably a religious tale of some kind.
With my father no longer here to lead us, evil is with those who will extinguish the light of truth.
So I imagine this is about the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad rising up. Does she take revenge? Is this a revenge story?
All of you.
This world has become a breeding.
All right, this looks like an epic battle scene. Oh my goodness.
Shadow will be cast across many generations to come.
Does it strike anyone else as strange that this is all being done in English? I feel like for a story like this, it should be in
Some people are so full of faith.
the original language of the time period. I assume Arabic.
The greatest thing in this life and the hereafter is the spreading of peace in the world.
Lady Fatima's goodness inspired people to
Yo,
stand up,
that's a big guy with big horns.
no matter what the cost.
This is a really cool looking sword as well.
Her legacy lives on.
So just based on the way that this trailer is constructed, I'm assuming that this film is using the Lady of Heaven's story as a parable for fuck ISIS. I think that's what they're trying to go with right here. And we can kind of see, like, obviously we get, at the very beginning, we get ISIS coming in, doing ISIS bullshit, being assholes, you know, that kind of stuff. And then we do get these larger kind of battle scenes. Where are they? Yeah, get stuff like this.
Extinguish the light of truth.
And also this is kind of indicative, this kind of like mob coming up and being like, we're not going to let a woman tell us what to do, are we? Very similar to how ISIS acts, except they would probably just rape and kill the woman. I don't think they would form a mob and then ask this question. They would just do the bad thing. Maya saying that they agree with the language thing. Reminds them of Slumdog Millionaire. I can't believe they had an Indian slum children speak British English. So I guess colonialism didn't work as well as they had hoped. Colonialism is bad. Asterisks. But then yes, we get the battle scene after they attempt to murder this woman.
God will judge all of you.
Where's that battle scene though? Yeah, this battle scene looks pretty great. Like all major battle scenes like this, you must stop and pause at least once to see if anyone's wearing jeans in the background. That doesn't appear to be the case here. This looks pretty great too. The charging horses, you get the camera going from left to right. flying this red flag, which I believe we see later in the trailer.
Violence. Shadow will be cast across many generations.
The shadow fading, meeting ISIS. Oh, ISIS. What a bunch of fucking idiots.
To come.
It also makes me wonder, like, for this trailer, we're not really seeing, and like this kind of goes back to the language thing, we're not really seeing a lot of people directly addressing camera and speaking. So I wonder if these are clips, sound clips, audio clips from the English dub, and they're just kind of cutting around people speaking and delivering this more to us in what do you call it? Voiceover.
It said some people are so full.
It's also kind of cool when you see like the, and I'll come back to that moment before, but when you see the difference in the cinematography, like obviously the color palette with ISIS here is much different. It's way desaturated, bordering on black and white, although you can still see some green in the trees.
The world is in shock as a group of
but the shots are a lot, I don't know, there's something about the cinematography about these ISIS things that strike me as being different from these more kind of overtly religious. Seems a bit softer, a bit brighter.
Some people are so.
This kind of shot as well. It just seems to be kind of standing in contrast with those earlier scenes of ISIS. So they're creating like direct visual distinctions between the present day, or whenever ISIS was actually relevant. I guess they still are. I guess ISIS still exists. The jerks. Yeah, and they stand directly in contrast with this kind of like softer, more colorful, a wider color palette.
They give strength to everyone around them.
The greatest thing in this life and the hereafter is the spreading of peace in the world.
The spreading of peace, not something that ISIS is known for.
Lady Fatima's goodness inspired people to stand up, no matter what the cost. This is interesting now that I'm looking at it. Her legacy lives on.
So if the Lady of Heaven inspired people to stand up, I wonder if, as someone on like the side of ISIS would watch a trailer like this and be like, yeah, we're the people standing up, actually. Maybe that's something I need to investigate further. Is this movie sympathetic to ISIS? I don't think so. The film bills itself as the first movie on the life of the historical figure Fatima during and after the era of the Islamic Prophet Muhammad. In addition to the Islamic story of the 7th century, the film also deals with ISIS in the 21st century and the origin of Islamic terrorism. Okay. Marketing for the film has promoted Lady of Heaven as the first ever cinematic production of the life of Fatima during and after. Yeah. A trailer was released in December 2020, which is what we just watched. An attempt has been made to block the trailer on social media platforms by the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority. Interesting. Pre-release reception. Fars News Agency has questioned the intent of the film, noting that a number of the renowned Islamic scholars have criticized the film for poor background research and inflammatory content. Inflammatory in what sense? I don't know. While Islamic scholar Yasser al-Habib has voiced his support for the film, stating that the film conveys a message of love and peace. It is a call to a better mindset when dealing with challenges. I am certain that should humanity follow in the steps of the Lady, peace, justice, and equality will prevail in triumph. I pray for this to happen. Additionally, Malik Shabak, one of the executive producers of the film, responded by saying, "One of the most important things to mention is that we put an extremely large amount of time and effort into making sure that the film is historically correct. So everything is backed up by historical texts. Then you come to the interpretation of those texts where the healthy conversations and differences that people can have." Okay. In the 2021 Cannes Film Festival, the film's producers were interviewed by Deadline Hollywood's co-editor-in-chief in a panel discussion by International Storytelling and Modern Cinema. The producers spoke of bringing Lady Fatima's story to life and the challenges the team faced when depicting religious history. The film received an award for Best Visual Effects, the IATSE. Okay. All right, so from the sounds of it, if this were a film that were like just blatantly supporting ISIS, then that would be in here somewhere. So I guess we can say to ourselves, oh, good. We have not supported ISIS directly by watching that channel or by watching that trailer. But overall, yeah, it looks like a cool movie. I would be interested in watching it, although I have no idea where it would even be. If you do not use Just Watch, and this is not sponsored, then you should be using Just Watch. Lady of Heaven. No, not Kingdom of Heaven. The Lady of Heaven? Would that bring it back? Never mind, this website sucks. Or it's just not listed anywhere. But in any case, Just Watch, if you don't use it, you can tell it where you live, and it shows you like where everything is streaming. Oh, Why the Last Man? Where's that streaming? FX Now. Boo. No one has that. All right, that is the trailer reaction for Lady of Heaven. I hope that satisfied the commenter in the comments from the sadness reaction. So yeah, and this is an example. You guys want me to react to a trailer? I'll react to one. I see Dory has tweeted at me and said that there is a trailer that he wants us to look at. Let's take a look. Let's see what it is. Notifications. Dory, did you tweet it at the right account? Because I'm not seeing it here. It is unfortunately not. We do have this one trailer here for the sadness that you sent yesterday, but I'm not seeing the other one, or the one that you had just sent. Let me know when you have, and I will take a look at it. So now that we are moving on from the Lady of Heaven, just some more movie news. And once again, if you guys want me to talk about anything else, please just let me know. Amaya asking if I have watched the Macbeth trailer or the Nightmare Alley trailer. You know, I've personally watched them, but I did not do reactions. They had come out at a point in time when we weren't doing this morning movie show. This is honestly the third time we've done this. So, oh, okay, Dory, you sent me an article. Cool. We'll look at that. I'll pull that up right now. Or maybe it's in my mentions. Sorry, Dory. Yeah, still not seeing it. Unless you DM'd it. Nope. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I have watched them. I'm super excited for both of those movies. Nightmare Alley, little known fact, is the original film, the film noir starring Tyrone Power that came out in the 40s. I wrote about it when I was in university. Wrote an essay about it. Not a good essay, but still an essay. And I was really excited when I heard that Guillermo del Toro was going to be coming back and directing the remake. It makes such perfect sense for him. Like, it's just all kinds of things that he's interested in. There is magic. There are carnivals. There are sideshow attractions. Like, it just so perfectly fits with the things that he is interested in. I'm not surprised that he decided to remake it. And the fact that he got the cast that he got is wild. Is wild. Am I saying, by the way, if you don't have anything other planned, I can suggest 2 or 3 Indian trailers that have subtitles. Bring it on. I've got about 5 more articles plus any kind of breaking news that comes out. So yeah, just you can tweet them at me. You can kind of see down here in the bottom right hand corner the handle there at Cinemateq with an _, or you can just post the names of the films in chat and we will get around to them. Dory's saying that he wanted my first reaction to the Netflix movie lineup for 2020. Is that something that they released today? Let's see if we can. Oh, nope, don't want to play that again. Not seeing anything specifically, Dory, that says what they're going to be doing in 2022, unless it was released a while ago. Don't Look Up. Oh, that's that new Netflix film, I think, right? That's a trailer that I have not watched. But yeah, Dory, if you could just let me know where you're seeing the oh, you sent the article again on Twitter. Let's refresh. You know what? I'm just gonna show your Twitter account for all the world, Dory, and I'm not seeing it. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, okay. So Dory, I think it looks like you're not. I don't know. Maybe you haven't used Twitter that much. But if you just do the @ right at the beginning, usually it doesn't actually show up in the person's notifications. You have to do something like, hey, @Cinemateq, and then it'll show up in their notifications. So in the case of the one that you sent the other day, it was like link, and then you said @Cinemateq, so that's why it worked. But now that we know this, I can go into this. Let's take a look. This was published yesterday morning. So let's see. Let's take a look at what's coming out in Netflix 2022 and beyond. No, I do not want notifications. Okay, let's just get rid of that preamble. Netflix original movies coming soon to Netflix. Jasmine's Blues, directed by Taylor Perry. Creator Tyler Perry has reportedly waited over 25 years to get his period crime drama Jasmine's Blues into development. The story takes place across 50 years. Woo! So it is an epic. It is an unsolved murder mystery. Okay. I'd say medium excitement for that. Against the Ice, directed by Peter Flint, starring Nicolas Coster-Waldau, who I enjoy. Oh, Charles Dance. We're getting the Game of Thrones gang back together. It's a Game of Thrones reunion for active. Thank you. I knew that. Who were last seen on screen together in 2014. More importantly, this historical drama is centered around the Alabama expedition led by Captain Inger Mikkelsen in an attempt to prove that Greenland is one island. Interesting. Yeah, I'd watch that for sure. Oh, they're doing an All Quiet on the Western Front film. Jeez Louise. Once again, getting the focus. The multilingual movie will be played out from the perspective of a young German soldier's experience on the Western Front during World War I. The movie is one of our most anticipated movies and currently aiming for a 2022 release date. Yeah, I'm into that. Edward Berger, what have they directed? Do they have epic war films in their filmography? Okay, so they worked on The Terror, which is actually a good sign, because that show takes place in the north, very in the Arctic Circle, lots of isolation and things like this. Looks like this person has really only been involved in German films. So okay, all right, guy looks solid. Apollo 10.5, a space age adventure. Wait, directed by Richard I was just about to scroll by this and say that I don't give a shit, but it's directed by Richard Linklater? What is this? Jack Black and Zachary Levi? This coming-of-age drama will take you back to 1969, focusing on the moon landing from two perspectives, the astronauts and a kid watching from afar. All right. Yeah, Richard Linklater's directing it. I'm in. Beauty. A gifted young black woman, Beauty, has a lucrative music career ahead of her as she pulled this way and that by the expectations of her family. All right, that sounds pretty standard. Beverly Hills Cop 4. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. I don't really think there's much to say about it. Blonde, starring Ana de Armas. Sign me up. It seems like this is actually a much longer list, so I'm just gonna go through these a bit faster. Chicken Run 2, I have not seen the first one, but I should, because that animation company is real good. Code 8 Part 2, I have not seen Code 8 Part 1, but the ML Brothers doing a movie, that has me just a little bit interested. Cursor, which is a horror thriller that stars Aja Butterfield. Okay. Ooh, Robert Englund's in it as well. Hello, Freddy Krueger. Aja Butterfield, it was a blah, 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 blah. It's about a broke student who is trying to gain an unclaimed prize for an obscure 1980s computer game. Interesting. I assume it's a computer game that kills. So, it could be interesting. Day Shift, J.J. Perry. Described as a vampire hunter movie, Day Shift is being directed by the director of John Wick 2 and The Fate of the Furious. Yeah, it'll probably be alright. Escape from Spiderhead, action sci-fi mystery. Chris Hemsworth is in it. Miles Teller is in it. Alright. Sounds good to me. Fast and Loose, directed by David Leitch, cast Will Smith. A leader of a criminal organization suffers memory loss from an attack. He reunites with his crew, only to find that things weren't the way they are. It'll just be a action thriller from the sounds of it. Action thriller as the genre. I know movies. Heart of Stone. Gal Gadot, Tom Harper. Yeah, I'll probably watch that. Havoc, Tom Hardy, Timothy Olyphant. Oh, Gareth Evans. I didn't know Gareth Evans was doing a Netflix film. That's great. I haven't seen a film that he had done since Rogue One. That's been a while. High in the Clouds. Animated film. Probably good because a lot of animated films that come to Netflix are pretty good. We got the next Adam Sandler movie, which don't really care about. Knives Out 2 and 3. I am super excited for that. I recently rewatched Knives Out 1 while I was doing some cleaning. Good movie. Still a good movie. Lady Chatterley's Lover. Okay. That is a classic tale. I'd be into seeing that. Luckiest Girl Alive. Connie Britton. Love you, Connie Britton. Oh, we're getting a Luther movie. Hell yes, I'm into that. Maestro. This appears to be a biopic about Leonard Bernstein. Starring Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan. Directed by Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I'd watch that. Me Time. Mark Wahlberg, Regina Hall, Kevin Hart. Comedy movie. Monkey Man. Directed by Dev Patel. Starring Dev Patel. Interesting. His directorial debut. Paid $30 million for a directorial debut. My goodness. It's about a released ex-felon who is trying to adjust and survive a modern-day life in India. All right. Munich, starring Jeremy Irons. But there's already a movie called Munich. Cast from historical drama that adapts the novel of the same name. Okay. For those of you who are just joining in, we are going through all the movies that Netflix is going to be releasing in 2022, and I'm just giving my first impressions of them. And if you're new here, please get in the chat and let me know what you've seen recently, and if there's any film news that you'd like me to discuss, because that's what this show's all about. We're just talking about movies this whole dang time. My Father's Dragon. I know nothing about this, and that animation style makes me think that I have not seen anything from this particular animation studio. But like I said before, original animation on Netflix is usually pretty good. Operation Mincemeat. John Madden, featuring Kelly MacDonald, John Isaacs, Colin Firth. I mean, Colin Firth is really all I need, especially since it's set during World War II. Like, that is great. Persuasion. Drama romance, starring Dakota Johnson and Richard E. Grant. Yep, I'm in. Oh, Henry Goulding is in it too? Yep. Doing it. Watching this one. It's based on a Jane Austen novel. Yeah. No, that's just totally my thing. The animated Pinocchio film by Guillermo del Toro. Nothing needed to be said. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'm watching that. So we got Players. Trish Say. Gina Rodriguez. Damon Wayans Jr. Romantic comedy. Probably not. Probably not something I'm going to be watching. That's just more me not being super into romantic comedies. Although I will watch them from time to time. They're more hungover movies, you know? They're hungover Sunday movies. You just need something a little light to get through the pain of all the mistakes that you made the night before. Yeah. That's when romantic comedies are at their best. Or Christmas. Also good for Christmas. Plus Minus, featuring Lily Reinhardt, who I enjoy. Don't recognize anyone else here, but it is a fantasy film. about a young girl who gets to see her life play out in two different scenarios after her college graduation. Okay, it's kind of like a what if, maybe a It's a Wonderful Life type deal. Benicio del Toro is in a crime thriller. Yeah, I'd watch that. And he's playing a detective, and he's a relentless detective. Those are the best kind of cinematic detectives, even though it means that it's probably a propaganda film. Hurrah, hurrah. Everyone loves propaganda, right? Rescued by Rudy. This, just on the face of this looks like a film that is being put together by like TikTokers. So I'm out. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. I mean, that animation style looks pretty sick. So yeah, I'd probably watch that. Rustin, biography film, a new biopic on the gay civil rights activist Bayard Rustin, who is most known for organizing the 1963 March on Washington. Yep, watching that. Spaceman of Bohemia, featuring... Is this going to be one of those films that is like a good Adam Sandler film? Because I don't imagine Carey Mulligan and Paul Dano are doing like ridiculous Adam Sandler films. So my opinion on this film will go between like, is it going to be a good Adam Sandler film or is it going to be a bad Adam Sandler film? Strangers, starring Sophia Turner, Maya Hawke. Okay. From A Likely Story comes the all-female led comedy described as Hitchcockian dark comedy. Yep, that's all I need to see. I'm in. Teddy and the Guardians of the Night, family fantasy. Not a lot here, so hard to say. Although, wait, Teddy and the Guardians of the Night. Is this Teddy Ruxpin? If it's Teddy Ruxpin, I'm all the way in. The Adam Project, a Zoe Saldana, Ryan Reynolds film directed by Sean Levy. It's also got Mark Ruffalo. Biggest project to date. Not a lot here, but it's action sci-fi, so we'll just see how it goes. Oh, they're making a movie based on The Division? Okay. I guess that could be alright. The Good Nurse. Jessica Chastain. I'm already all the way in. Don't need to see any more. The Gray Man by Joe and Anthony Russo. Oh, Rob, you're catching up and watching at 2x speed. Excellent. You watched Venom 1 for the first time 3 days ago, and you'd like to see Venom 2 with you now. Excellent. Yeah, we're definitely going to see. We're definitely going to go see Venom. We'll have to check the. We'll have to check, but we'll watch it. We'll watch Venom. Helicopter Heist. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. I guess that's cool. Netflix is adapting the Jonas Bonner bestseller drama about a gang of thieves plot to steal over $5 million using a stolen helicopter. Okay, that could be fun. The Homeless World Cup. What? Comes a heartfelt drama about the real-world organization that runs a football tournament for the homeless. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like an actual, like a pretty cool story. And yeah, Dory, you're right. The Gray Man is a Russo brothers movie. So it'll be interesting to see what they do post or outside of the MCU now. The Killer, David Fincher's new movie with Michael Fassbender. All the way in. Don't need to read the description. I'm just in. Nikki Caro and Jennifer Lopez are making a movie called The Mother. A $30 million budget, 15 of which probably went to Jennifer Lopez. Vertigo Entertainment movie is one of several coming from Jennifer Lopez as part of her big overall deal. Oh, so she's getting paid up by the deal, and that's why the budget can be so low. I guess that's an interesting aspect about these deals that Netflix makes that we don't really talk about, is that like if someone gets paid like $100 million, let's say, for a 3-movie deal, then if the budget is to have, if the movie's to have a budget of $30 million, obviously the person is not getting paid like a third of their $100 million for that film. So I wonder if they're essentially taking that particular cast member's salary off the books of the budget, and that's why they can do those sort of lower budget films with these higher up people. It's interesting. It's interesting. So The Pale Blue Eye, crime horror, Scott Cooper, Christian Bale. Yeah, sounds all right. School of Good and Evil, Paul Feige, Michelle Yeoh, Charlize Theron. If you guys can't tell, I really love Michelle Yeoh. Decorated director, Paul Feige will adapt the book series, The School of Good and Evil, for Netflix. All right, all right. The Wonder, Sebastian Leo. Oh, Florence Pugh. Yep, that's all I needed to see. They're just some actors. Well, I'll just watch whatever they're in. Doesn't matter. We have a Ghost, a family horror film. Usually aren't the things that I go for most, but Tig Notaro. Gotta watch a Tig Notaro movie. Wendell and Wild, animated film. Looks like Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key are involved, so yes, I am all the way in for that. White Noise, of course, the Noah Baumbach film with Adam Driver. I am just watching that. I'm already watching it in my head, and it's fantastic. Woo Assassins, Fistful of Vengeance. I feel like I've seen Woo Assassins somewhere else. Is that? Yeah, okay. So is this like an original movie that they're doing instead of a second season? All right. I didn't watch the series, so this doesn't really do anything for me. But I do like martial arts movies, so there's that. In each of this article, not taking a lifetime to read, here's a breakdown of even more movies on the way to Netflix. Oh my god. Everyone, there are way too many movies. Although, Beyond Good and Evil, adaptation of USB game led by Rob Letterman. I'd watch that. Anything else standing out? Chinatown, prequel to the 1974 film with David Fincher serving as the executive producer? What? What is the point of that? Thank you, Rob, for saying that you very much enjoyed the Be Right Back loop. I put a lot of effort into that. And it could actually end up getting longer if I find more Be Right Back moments in films. Dial A for Aunties. Enola Holmes 2. Interesting. Wasn't a big fan of the original. I felt like they wanted to make a series, but kind of found out at the last minute that they didn't have enough material to do like a 3 or 4 episode miniseries, so they just turned it into a movie instead. Wait, Exit West. Star Riz Ahmed. Yep. Love that. Into that. Gundam. A sci-fi adaptation of the anime. Yes. I want that. I'm definitely like really being very like academic with you guys right now. Blake Lively in something called Lady Killer. No, Rob, I have never seen Chicken Run. I'm sorry. How many Ingmar Bergman films have you seen, Rob? Feel shame about the answer, Rob, because I've seen like 5 or more, and I still feel shame that it's not enough. Metal Lords. Oh, it's not a heavy metal film. Who cares? Oh, Murder Mystery 2. Wonderful. Another not probably great thing from Adam Sandler. Zack Snyder's big new sci-fi movie that was originally pitched as a Star Wars story. So we're just getting it as a not Star Wars story? I don't even think he changed the name of it. Like, Rebel Moon is absolutely something that exists in Star Wars already. Oh, so weird. Why are they showing... Oh, Sand Kings. I was going to say, why are they showing an image of George R.R. Martin here? George R.R. Martin's book being adapted as a Netflix feature film. All right. Just something to keep George R.R. Martin fed while he continues to not release the Game of Thrones books. The Ghost in the Machine. Nope, that is not another remake of the animated film. Magician's Elephant, Nail Bomber. Okay. Oh, The Old Guard is getting a sequel. I guess it did well enough to deserve one. I haven't actually watched it yet. Trigger warning. Uh-oh. That makes me wonder what's actually going to be happening in it. And then a bunch of Untitled stuff. Wait, what? Wasn't this already? Oh, it was based on the documentary. I was going to say, this movie already came out. But no. Okay. So there you go, Dory. My reactions to all of these films. Are there any that you're looking forward to from this list? Let me know in the chat. And once again, there's Dory's Twitter. Follow him if you wish. It seems like he joined specifically to tweet stuff at me. So props to you. Props to you, Dory. So now that we've talked about this and we've done that, we get back to some of the film news that I had queued up to watch. But first, I'm going to take a big old drink of this tea. Oh my goodness. And while I have you here, and while I'm not talking about the news, please like this live stream. It'll help us out, maybe get us a little bit more visibility, maybe get a couple of more people in here chatting with us about the movies. This is the best one of these movie morning shows, or morning movie shows that we've done so far. It's got the most people in for sure, the most chat. I fucking love it. Thank you everyone for being a part of it. You all rule. And let's see if we can get some more people in here. And while I have you here as well, I will say that the morning movie show is going to be a Monday to Friday thing, starting at 9 a.m., going as long as we need to. Probably not going into the afternoon though, because I do need to take a couple of these things, cut them down, and release them on the trailer or on the channel later for, you know, those views and that hopefully more subscribers. But this is what I love doing. I love doing these live streams, just talking about the movies with all you guys. So we have Amaya sending us trailer suggestions. They've got 2 there, so we'll get to those. We'll get to those later on, but I will come back to them. I think Dory's given us his top 3 movies of the year so far, which are Dune, The Great Indian Kitchen, and Titane. Titane, I mean, I'm not going to say no. It's a good movie. Netflix is the biggest talent, or I guess, Dory, you're saying here Netflix has been getting the biggest talent. RIP to theaters. I mean, the TIFF Bell Lightbox shows Netflix films, so they're going to be okay. TIFF will always survive. TIFF will always survive. But all right, let's get back to the news. And can someone please just comment something in the chat so I don't have to constantly look at Rob accusing me for never seeing Chicken Run? It's what my eye goes to all the time now, and I feel so bad. So this little bit of news I wanted to draw attention to. Molly Shannon joins Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman in Zach Braff's A Good Person at MGM. I was not aware that Zach Braff had a new film in production, but as he is dating, currently involved with Florence Pugh, I guess it makes sense the 2 of them would be working together on this film. And the addition of Molly Shannon is probably a good thing. Let's see. The film follows Allison, played by Pugh, whose life falls apart after her involvement in a fatal accident. In the following years, it is in an unlikely relationship she forms with her would-be father-in-law, played by Morgan Freeman, that helps her inevitably live a life worth living. The project starts production this fall. So Pugh is the star, and Molly Shannon looks like coming in a supporting role. And then we just talk about Molly Shannon a little bit more here. Oh, we've got Josh watching. Good to see you, Josh. Thank you for joining us. Once again, just let me know what you've been watching recently and what you like, because that's what we do here. Talk about them movies. I talked briefly about Wendell and Wild, the Key and Peele one. Henry Selick. Why is his comeback important? American director. Oh, he looks familiar. Oh, the guy who directed Coraline. Naturally. Oh, he hasn't directed a movie in like over a decade. Also did James and the Giant Peach and The Nightmare Before Christmas. All right, Rob, I can see why you felt it important to point that out. That is a big deal. Well, that will be one to watch as well. I wonder if eventually Netflix is just going to start like getting into necromancy, and then it won't even matter if a person is dead. They can just bring them out of the grave and make a movie with them. It seems like something that they would probably do, especially considering all of the money that they have. If I had to guess who is going to develop a usable form of necromancy first, it would be either Apple or Netflix. I don't know why Apple would do it. It would be a very weird feature for the Apple Watch, but Netflix seems like it would work. And Rob, the fact that you said Chicken Run is greater than Ingmar Bergman means that I must now ban you from the channel. I'm kidding. You're not banned. Yet. Alright. So, back to this. Good for Molly Shannon. But the thing that kind of caught my eye in this is the fact that Florence Pugh is in a Zach Braff film. I guess it means that their relationship is going well. And here on Cinemateq, that's something that we care about deeply, because we want the best for Florence Pugh. Although, actually, yeah, I'm not going to get into their age difference. It's not worth anything. But you know what is worth something? The fact that Alejandro Inarritu... Oh, fuck, I'm so bad with names. Inarritu... Alejandro Inarritu has a new film, Bardo, and it just wrapped filming. And its first details are that it is a nostalgic comedy epic. Inarritu has officially wrapped production in Mexico City. Oh my God, Levi's, get off my stream. His wrapped production in Mexico City on his next film. The new movie is being billed by, I'm just going to call him Alejandro. Alejandro's representatives as a nostalgic comedy set against an epic journey. The film marks Alejandro's feature film follow-up to the 2015 survival drama The Revenant. He has not done a film in like 7 years. God damn. Although he did return in 2017 with the acclaimed virtual installation project Carne Arena. With Bardo, the director returned to shoot and produce a film entirely in Mexico for the first time since Ameros Perros over 20 years ago. Wow, man. I have not seen Ameros Perros, and I think it's probably the only one of Alejandro's films that I have not seen. So, yeah, probably should do that. Just to get excited for this new film. An official release for Bardo reads, written by Alejandro and Nicholas Giabone, Bardo is a nostalgic comedy set against an epic journey, a chronicle of uncertainties where the main character, a renowned Mexican journalist and documentary filmmaker, returns to his native country facing his identity, familial relationships, and the folly of his memories as well as the past and new reality of his country. Excuse me. Bardo stars Zama actor Daniel Jimenez Caco and Griselda Cicilline in the leading roles. Zama is a film that I have watched, and it's very good. And so if it stars this fellow, who I think I know the face, I think I know who we're talking about. Yeah, this guy's cool. This guy is a good actor. So I'm excited about that. Bardo's production team also includes costume designer. All right. A lot of people who appear to be collaborators with Alfonso Cuarón, people who have worked with Guillermo del Toro, people who worked on Roma. Yeah, probably like the best of the best of the Mexican production crews and things like that, which if you've seen Roma or any of Guillermo del Toro's films, you know that they're top-notch people. So pretty excited about Alejandro's new film. And just to reiterate down here, he's a 2-time Oscar winner for Best Director thanks to Birdman and The Revenant. He won these Oscars back-to-back. He's also directed Ameros Perros, 21 Grams, Babel, which I think is criminally underrated. But I also hate it when people say that things are criminally underrated, because I feel like things are actually pretty accurately rated. And when you say underrated or overrated, you're really just bringing your biases to it. And then he also directed Beautiful, which is a very good Javier Bardem acting vehicle. If you want to see him, if you really want to see the range of Javier Bardem, Beautiful is a good movie for that. See, we got Josh saying that Venom 2 has him excited, kind of interested in the Mario movie, still wondering why Lawrence Fishburne wasn't recast as Morpheus for the new Matrix film. I mean, he didn't want to do it. I've also heard theories about the new Matrix movie where this is actually a reboot of the 5th version of the Matrix, which is the Matrix we saw in the previous films. And so while the people who are in the Matrix, such as the architect, the architect's a program, so he would be the same, but the person of, like, say, Morpheus and the other characters that are part of the Zion Underground, they would be played by different people. And the fact that Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss are in the film, the theory goes that this is some kind of like they had to do it because of what Keanu Reeves' character Neo ended up doing at the end of the last film, being out of the Matrix, also striking the deal with the machines. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that could be. It probably just comes down to the fact that Lawrence Fishburne wasn't paid enough money, or the story didn't necessitate him. I've also heard that he may be involved in like a post-credit scene, so maybe setting up a Matrix 5 that includes Lawrence Fishburne. So the fact that it hasn't been announced yet, or that hasn't been in a trailer yet, don't take that to mean that he's not in there somewhere doing something, because he may very well be. Rob's saying that he's using the Molly Shannon news to plug the other two season 2 featuring her. It's the best comedy on TV. Rob knows a lot about comedy, and I'm not saying that facetiously. And I'm not saying that fuck's sakes. I will never say the word facetious ever again in my life while I'm on camera. But Rob knows good comedy, so take that to heart. And Josh saying, I want to see the new Bond film, of course. And also waiting patiently for the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's actually being made. So you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. You're watching a bunch of stuff like Children of Men and V for Vendetta. Children of Men, of course. Film that I really enjoy. It's a good one. It's a good one. And guys, I got to say, I know you're here. I know you're paying attention. The likes have not increased on this live stream. I'm very disappointed in all of you. Please like this thing. And you want to see the Batman movie as well after rewatching the Nolan Batman series. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped on the new Batman. I'm actually thinking about doing like a live reaction to the DC fandom, like specifically if they actually say like during this time and this time we're only doing movies, then I would probably do a live reaction of that. Hey, someone liked the live stream. I see you. You're doing good work. Keep it up. I would consider doing a DC fandom thing if they did do a specific like movie block, because I think seeing the new trailer for the Batman plus whatever else they've got in store, potentially a trailer for Black Adam, that could all be good fun that we could all enjoy together. Moving on from this, we have this story that kind of came out a little while ago, and I thought it would be fun to kind of go over it because it kind of touches on how ridiculous, well, really how ridiculously hard it is to get a movie made in Hollywood. I know we all think that people have clout and they can do whatever they want, and Steven Spielberg can just go make a movie and it's like fine, and you know, people who have Oscars can just do whatever they want, but it's not actually like that. It is desperately not like that. Also, I see you, other people who have liked this live stream. You are all good people. I give you film blessings for the rest of your day. So yeah, this story came out. It was talking, it first originated from Guillermo del Toro, talking about how he has produced something like 16 scripts that have not been made into films yet. And these are fully formed screenplays that he took about 6 months to write each one. Actually, no, that's wrong. I think it's actually more than 16. And then he said that that's about 16 years of work that hasn't seen the light of day. And now I'm guessing that Edgar Wright and other directors are also chiming in and talking about this. So let's just take a look at this so we all feel a little bit better about perhaps not getting our dream projects off the ground. Aspiring filmmakers, if you need some incentive to keep going, look no further than a recent Twitter thread in which directors like Guillermo del Toro, James Gunn, Edgar Wright, and Scott Derrickson chimed in with their cumulative wisdom. And I just want to pause here because this idea that if you need incentive to keep going, it could easily be spun the other way and say, if you need reasons to be depressed about your chances in Hollywood, look at these really famous people who actually don't get their scripts produced as well. So I'm glad that they took the more positive route here. I just wanted to let you know that there's an equally depressing way of looking at this. Let's move on. It all started with a question from user Caleb Wilson, who did the @thing, oh my god, with them along with several other notable directors and writers. He asked, how many screenplays you guys written for movies that never got made? Del Toro replied, by my count, I have written or co-written about 33 screenplay features. 2 to 3 made by others, 11 made by me, so about 20 screenplays not filmed. Each takes 6 to 10 months of work, so roughly 16 years gone. Just experience and skill improvement, which is kind of wild when you think about it, right? Like, imagine being an architect or like someone who works in the construction industry, let's say, and over the course of 16 years, you build 20 houses. But no one gets to live in those houses. No one gets to see those houses. No one knows where those houses are or what they look like. And you just kind of write it off and say, it was just experience and skill improvement. That's insane. That's an insane thing to think about. The writer here is now asking us to think about this for a second, but we've already spent more than a second thinking about it, so I think we can move on to the next director. Gunn commented, "You gave up being a surgeon and a lawyer and playing the violin and maybe being really good at darts or something with that time." Typical kind of James Gunn response. But it's true. Like, just think about all of the time spent. Like 16 years. Nearly half of my life. Guillermo del Toro has spent writing scripts. Insane. Gunn also shared some of his own experiences as a screenwriter. He started out as writing and directing for Troma on projects like Romeo and Juliet and the series The Tromaville Cafe. Quoting James Gunn's Twitter, "The biggest hurdle as a screenwriter was trying to please the client while not displeasing myself. The first time around, I just gave up and pleased them, but never again. Overall, though, it's a job that I wasn't fond of." He said the biggest hurdle as a screenwriter, my God, don't show the tweet and then write the tweet. People can read the tweet. Come on, Joshua Meyer. Let's see. Next one down. The better draft is buried under 3 coats of paint. This one coming from Scott Deckerson, whose actual Twitter display name is atrocious. "I had a 5-year run before The Exorcism of Emily Rose, during which I was paid to write or rewrite 13 screenplays. None of them got made. Oof. I was earning a good living, but all my creativity would be read by just a handful of executives. It caused a kind of soul sickness in me." I think actually, yeah, that's pretty accurate way of depicting it. And it's kind of like, just to relate it back to something that I'm doing right now, which is live streaming for all of you, that there are streamers out there who would see 4 people concurrent viewers, which is what we have right now, and they would be losing their minds because they often stream for months because they often stream for months and have 0 viewers. Like, there are people on Twitch right now who have 0 viewers. So, oh man, to put that into terms of like screenplay writing, it's oof. And Rob, I see you dabbing, thinking that you just dunked on me, saying, "Aren't you technically reading the tweet while showing the tweet?" Yeah, because it's a visual medium and an auditory medium. Rob, if you would like me to just be silent as I scroll through the articles, we could have that kind of live stream. Although I don't think it would be very entertaining. Although maybe it would be better. Maybe I should just find pages of jokes and just scroll through those, and then people can laugh and comment on them while I just kind of sit here. Ah, the soul sickness. It's coming back. There is a reoccurring theme in other replies from filmmakers like Duncan Jones, who said, "Think of all the amazing art Michelangelo could have left us if he didn't have to restrict his work to religious subject matter and the egos of rich benefactors." That's an interesting take, I suppose. I also don't know if, like, are we saying that all of Michelangelo's art outside of the stuff that he was doing for rich people had to have a religious subject? Is that true of the time? Were they saying, like, no art that didn't have religion as a centerpiece to it? Like, I know it was the Renaissance, but I don't know, Duncan Jones. I feel like you could have worded that a little bit better. Duncan Jones further says, "People think that writing scripts is like writing books, but it really isn't. It's more like drawing up architectural plans for picky clients. If they're paying for it, you find a way for making your artistry to serve what they need, including making tweaks for their budget." I will actually add to this that writing scripts is easier than writing a novel. I've written a few screenplays, haven't written a novel. Therefore, writing screenplays is easier. Take that, Duncan Jones. Edgar Wright, whose new film Last Night in Soho is almost whose new film Last Night in Soho is almost out, replied, "Indeed, I said once about a project I was writing on, I think the better draft is buried under 3 coats of paint." I wish he would have said which draft he was working on, but it was probably for a film that was not released. All of this serves as a reminder that even your favorite filmmakers are beholden to the whims of producers and practitioners, or practicalities of budget and other factors. The names here all have an edge in that they have most likely been directing their own films. Yeah, true. I can't even imagine what it must be like for some of Hollywood's unsung screenwriters who have yet another barrier between them and the dream of a finished film. That's also a good point. People like Edgar Wright and Guillermo del Toro, they can write all they want, and if they want to make a movie, I'm sure if they were to just pitch it to someone with an extremely low budget, they can get it made. I don't know why they would go about that, because they are talented people who deserve the money that they are paid. But they always have that option. Someone like me or you or anyone who's watching this later on, if you're only writing screenplays and you have no real avenue to bring your ideas to screen outside of just writing them, it's going to be so much harder for you to get your ideas on screen. So a little bit of truth there from Mr. Joshua Meyer. Let's go back and look at some of these comments. Didn't Spielberg say he almost had to set up Lincoln at HBO because no studio wanted to make it? I believe so, yeah. Spielberg has gone on record, and I think Scorsese has also gone on record and just said, like, they don't always have the easiest time making movies. I think another great example of this is David Cronenberg. Like, say what you want about his recent output and how it's like not, it's not the Cronenberg we remember from the 70s and 80s, and he's taking on like more niche subject matter, but it's still David Cronenberg, and he is now in production of his next film, and he has not made a film since Cosmopolis, which I believe came out in 2016. This man is like one of the all-time great Canadian directors, if not one of the all-time great horror directors in the world. And the man had to take an almost 6-year hiatus between films. Like, that's kind of wild. And I don't really think he was doing anything else either. I know he wrote a book, but like that book came out a while ago as well. This tea is not hot anymore, and I'm fine with that. Captain Picard would be very disappointed in me, though. It is Earl Grey. It is not hot. So take heart, I guess, is what I want to say with this article. I will also take the positive route and just say, just keep working. Just keep working on your stuff. Eventually people will see it. Maybe it'll be 3 people. Maybe it'll be 4 people. But maybe those are cool people, and that's all that's going to matter. True. And then this is the last news article I have ready to go, but we are going to check in with the breaking news, see if there's anything that we need to be talking about. But this one is something that I wanted to share simply because it is about the new Blade movie, and the original Blade movie is something that I hold very dear to my heart. My parents snuck me into the theater to see it when I was but a wee lad. I was definitely not old enough to be going to see a rated R film, but my parents decided to get me in anyways. I'm sure that's something that my mother has regretted her entire life, but I still had a fun time. And so the announcement that Mahershala Ali had been cast to play Blade in the new Blade MCU film got a thumbs up from me because he's a very good actor. Pardon me. Oh dear. So I just wanted to go through this because the director of Blade Trinity, who really cares what they have to say? But then I think I realized the director of Blade Trinity is actually an interesting director, and they have some thoughts on Marvel rebooting The Daywalker with Mahershala Ali, because there is some controversy, right? Like, Wesley Snipes could still play Blade. He probably could. It might be a bit of a nightmare to work with if the rumors are true, but they could have done it with Wesley Snipes. So let's just read through this. In the immediate years before the X-Men and Spider-Man finally made their film debuts, Marvel superhero Blade got the chance to shine on the silver screen with Wesley Snipes bringing the Daywalker to life. The first, and in some cases still one of the best Marvel movies to ever be released. He was also in Green Book and Alita Battle Angel. And now David S. Goyer, yes, it was David S. Goyer who directed the third Blade film, now that I remember it. The director and writer of Blade Trinity has shared his thoughts on the vampire hunter soon becoming an important player in the MCU. And I will just put an asterisk here. I think David Goyer can do good work. Blade Trinity was not his best work. While promoting his new Apple TV series Foundation, which I'm excited for, David Goyer shared that he's thrilled that a new Blade movie is on the way, as he knows full well what the comic book medium's ability to present different versions of the same character and can also easily be applied to depictions of said character in a cinematic setting. As Goyer explained, I loved it. I mean, one of the things, if you're a comic book fan, there is the 1940s Batman and the 1950s Batman, and then there's the Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams Batman and the Frank Miller Batman. They're perennials, and I couldn't be more tickled that another version of Blade is coming out. Mahershala Ali is certainly one of the most amazing actors working today, I'll be one of the first people to buy a ticket for that film. So a rousing, rousing positivity for the new Blade film from David S. Goyer. Oh, wow. It's been nearly 20 years since the third Blade film. Okay, maybe Wesley Snipes couldn't do Blade anymore. I guess he's probably in his 50s. My goodness. It's a bit of an old man, Wesley Snipes. And I think that's really all that this article was about. I was kind of curious to see what he would say about it. I imagine that Guillermo del Toro and the director of the first Blade movie, who did direct the first Blade movie? Directed by Stephen Norrington. That's some good looking hair. Filmography. Oh, he has not done much. Death Machine. What the hell is Death Machine? That is a poster. That actually really reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, last night for the very first time. And when you see blade fingers with blood on the end, what else do you think of other than Freddy Krueger? Interesting. Oh, it's a 1994 Japanese-British cyberpunk horror film. What? This exists? And it stars Rachel Weisz? What? Oh, appears briefly in a role of junior executive. It is Norrington's directorial debut and worked on special effects artists on such films as Life Force, Aliens, Hardware, The Witches, and Split Second. I think I need to cancel my weekend plans because I need to watch Death Machine. Holy shit. Who is Brad Dourif? That sounds familiar. Oh, him! God damn it. I have got to watch this movie now. All right. Forget about what I said about giving reactions for Dear Evan Hansen. I'm going to be giving reactions for Death Machine. I will be comparing Death Machine and Dear Evan Hansen head to head to see which one is a superior film. But Death Machine looks sick. Put that on the watch list. Holy hell. I don't even remember how I got to this. Oh yeah. The director of Blade did Death Machine first. I always love it too when we pop up to like 5 viewers and then it drops back down to 4, and it's like, I wonder which person just like came in on me saying Death Machine, that looks sick, and then just ran away because they couldn't deal with the truth of Death Machine being awesome. But also, if you are new to this live stream and you haven't chimed in on chat, please do so. Tell me who you are and what you're liking so far when it comes to movies, and if there are any news articles or film news or trailers that you want to discuss or watch. We got time. This stream's going for probably another 45 minutes. We got time to fill. Dory's saying that they cried for 2 hours watching Dear Evan Hansen. But what if I cry for 5 hours after watching Death Machine? That's something that we haven't really talked about. How do we qualify crying time as a way of evaluating a movie? But that is cool. Like, I'm glad to hear that Dear Evan Hansen was able to affect you. Was able to affect you in that way. And yeah, I will try to see Dear Evan Hansen. Maybe tonight. It depends on seat availability because I don't like sitting in bad seats. Also, Dory, riddle me this. Is Evan Hansen a film that I should see in IMAX? Because it is available in like an IMAX light theater that I like going to. And do I need to go see it in that format? Was Dear Evan Hansen shot for IMAX? I don't think it would have been, but it also might have been, so who knows. And Amaya, no, I haven't reacted to those trailers yet. And it's okay to be gone for a little while. I know it's a way different time of the day where you're at, so it's all good. But I will be getting to those trailers. I'm just going to check in and see if there's any breaking film news that we need to talk about. Anything exciting happened in the last couple of hours or so. All right. For any of you who are into restorations of stuff, Vinegar Syndrome has a Black Friday. I'll just go back to my face so you can look at me while I read some of these headlines that you won't be able to see. Vinegar Syndrome, they do a lot of film restorations of like old, usually like X-rated, blaxploitation, that kind of stuff. They have their annual Black Friday Flash pre-order sale, I think. It's live right now with new releases including Dario Argento's Trauma. Ooh. They've been really moving up Vinegar Syndrome. They've been doing like bigger and bigger films. Oh, what? Arrow Video has announced new Giallo Essentials collection. Yo, this is specifically for me and nobody else. Let me go back to this. So Giallo, for those of you who don't know, is a genre of horror films that is specific to Italy in the 1970s. The new film *Malignant* that just came out from James Wan, which is quite good, is considered to be like a play on the Giallo genre. But now it appears that Arrow Video is announcing a new Giallo Essentials collection with 3 movies, including Sergio Martino's Torso. Martino is a good Giallo director. Ooh, look at that. And they even made the case yellow. Giallo is Italian for yellow, in case you weren't aware. So what are the films, though? Tell me the names of the films. Strip Nude for Your Killer from 1975 is one of them. Torso from 1973, directed by Sergio Martino, as I mentioned. And Massimo D'Almo's What Have You Done to Your Daughters? Oof. All right. I'm into this. I will not be purchasing it because I don't buy physical media anymore. I'm sorry. I'm just that kind of asshole. But I imagine that since Arrow Video has their own streaming service, these will probably end up going on to that streaming service. So that's something. If you are a horror fan and you're looking for some like kind of proto slashers that are also like detective films, Giallo is a great place to go, and you can do no wrong by starting with the early films of Dario Argento. Bird with the Crystal Plumage is great. Deep Red is great. Suspiria is great. Cat o' Nine Tails is great. Pretty much everything that Argento does in his early career is good. And then you can move on to other Argento films like Opera. Opera is so good. And Phenomena is hilarious. Stars a very young Jennifer Connelly and has a heavy metal soundtrack, but it's still a horror movie. If you ever want to see 14-year-old Jennifer Connelly get chased around while listening to like Motorhead, that's your fucking movie. All right, that just got me excited. I just like some good Giallo. And Arrow Video actually has a lot of it. If you're into that kind of horror film, Arrow Video is the place to go. Like they release a bunch of Giallo. So let's see, what else is hype? What else is hype? No, don't care about that. Oh, that's a series, so that doesn't matter. Maybe I should be more telling you guys what actually I'm looking at. There's a headline here that deals with the live-action Cowboy Bebop series, but that ain't no movie, so we don't care about it here. Oh, here's something that might be of interest. John Cena and Kathy Bates join Brian Cox and Jodie Turner-Smith in political thriller The Independent. Bates to play America's first female president. I wonder if this is going to be a version of White House Down or something like that, where John Cena must save Kathy Bates. I wonder if there's a plot description here. This script came from The Blacklist. For those of you who are unaware, The Blacklist is a yearly script writing competition of sorts where a bunch of people read all of the unproduced Hollywood scripts that were written that year, and they are then ranked from like 1 to 50. And typically, getting on the blacklist is a very good way of getting your script sold. So this script for The Independent appears to have come from the blacklist. The director is Amy Rice, who also did By the People, The Election of Barack Obama, which is a documentary. And Broadway Rising is a document. So she's a documentary director. Interesting. We're incredibly excited to partner with Kathy Bates and John Cena on The Independent. Kathy's exceptional acting skills paired with John Cena's global appeal. Ooh, kind of throwing a bit of shade at John Cena's acting abilities right there. An ability to transform on screen, make them incredible additions to this film. We couldn't be happier that they've signed on. Okay, okay. Sounds interesting. Anyone here in the chat into the idea of John Cena and Kathy Bates being in a film together? I'm curious to see what happens with John Cena's acting career, honestly. I liked him in Suicide Squad. He's good. Wasn't as good in F9, but I think Rob, actually, you had an idea, or someone maybe in the Blank Check podcast said something about John Cena in F9 that was pretty interesting. Kind of like how, something about how he was actually perfectly cast, and I can't remember why that was. But you can put it in the chat if you wish. If you're even still here. I think you're actually working today. And you may not be here anymore. So who knows? It's like Dory is asking me to GoFundMe the Conjuring house in Rhode Island. Could be yours for $2.5 million. Wait. Are you saying that if I were to go to GoFundMe right now, that the house from The Conjuring is on GoFundMe? I don't see it. Or is it just The Conjuring house for sale? Ah. This is movie. Oh, wait, no. Fox News. Fuck this. Bailing out. No one saw that. Haha. I need to raise 1.2 million. That's 1.2 American, which is like 5 billion Canadian dollars. Yo, that doesn't look like the Conjuring house. Hold on, can we get a photo of this? Ooh, a creepy wooden cabin in the middle of Rhode Island. I wonder if I'd be able to live stream out there. I wonder what the internet's like. The real estate agency called it one of the most well-known haunted houses in the United States. So they know exactly what they're trying to do while trying to sell this. That's a good question. How would you price a famously haunted house? I have no idea. Although when I did watch Nightmare on Elm Street 2 last night, one of the main parts of the film is establishing very clearly that the father got a great deal on the house because of the murders that happened. So maybe they should be pricing this a bit lower than $1.2 million. I gotta say, I do like that flooring. That natural wood flooring, that's nice. It's creepy. Oh man, that would creak all the time. I would be so scared living here. I can just imagine myself streaming from there as well, and you guys being like, oh, look out behind you. There's a ghost, man. Run away. And I'd be like, shut up. And then I would watch the live stream back and be like, oh shit, there are ghosts. I believe. All right, so let's just go back, see if there's any other film news. Seems like no. The film news has ended, and so like I promised, we are going to trailer react to stuff that Amaya wanted to see. I hope Amaya is still here. Let's see. Trailer. The first one is... Ooh, this film came out 5 years ago. Man, you're doing deep cuts on me. Bajirao Mastani? Mastani. Bajirao Mastani? Is that how it's pronounced? All right. Ooh, wait. Which of these official trailers should I watch? There's 2 of them. I'm guessing, oh, that's the official teaser. Well, we don't do teasers on this channel. Whew. That is a bombastic start. All right, Amaya is here. Let's do this reaction. I'm doing a lot of battling, so I'm not sure if that's the correct way of reading this. I was more just caught up in the visuals and how great they looked. YouTube clapped my channel. What does that mean? Has my stream ended? Oh no.